figure. One thing you're supposed to appreciate, ladies and gentlemen, here is that capital is what here? Capital is very scarce. There is nobody who has a lot of money. At the end of the day, whatever capital resources we have, they are very scarce, and as such, they need to be planned for optimally. They need to be planned for optimally. So we are saying here, very importantly, that capital in this case here is scarce. That is what we are told in financial management of section 3 of foundations level, not foundations but intermediate, that capital is scarce. But as much as capital is scarce, we have in this case here projects in this case we shall be having projects whose requirements far exceed, the capital available. We have so many projects, ladies and gentlemen. For example, like now myself here, assuming I've got 2 million Kenya shillings, in front of my eyes, I have very many projects that if I try adding their requirements, they'll exceed the 2 million. For example, I would want to do a very good house in Isinya. I have some interest in Isinya, Kajiado County, right? I would want to do a few things in this case here from where I come from. I mean, there are so many competing projects that I need lots of resources which exceed what here the capital available. All right. So we are saying, ladies and gentlemen, that we have, say, capital. We have capital of 2 million. But the projects that we have run from here to ABC. So for example, project A needs 1.5 million. Project B, for example, needs 0.5 million. We have project C, for example, needing 1.8 million. If you add everything here, then you will end up getting 3.8 million as the capital required. This is the capital required. Capital required vis-a-vis capital available of how much? Of 2 million. Capital available of 2 million. Let me give you some story. And this is something that really some time back embarrassed me so much. So I went one day with my son and daughter to a supermarket. During those days when Nakumatt was Nakumatt, when they were telling us that if you need it, we've got it. So remember at the end of the month, what used to happen at the end of the month, all of us would go to Nakumatt. We take those big trolleys that you can even use to carry your kid, although my kids were a bit bigger. And then we used to go around, we pick things. So we picked so many things. All right. So then we went straight away to the cashier. So the cashier was there trying to put in those things in that machine, counting. Then, of course, the final tally was there. You need 41,000. And in my pocket, I only had 20,000. All right. So, of course, I would not have had any much issues if I did not have kids. I would have told this lady that I've forgotten a few things. Let me first of all pull my cart away and then I'll come back, cancel that transaction, I'll come back later, and then I would have organized myself. But now here we have a young son. I tried in this case, ladies and gentlemen, as much as possible here to show everybody, and there were people who were queuing behind me, that everybody was fine, but the young man was crying that we cannot return this. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is what we shall be doing in capital budgeting. If the capital that you have is not enough, then you must return a few things back to the shelves. And this is the major thing that I would want to bring to you today, that if this that is required is more than what is available, then there are projects that you will not be able to undertake. But you decide, for example, and say, hey, I don't want A. No. There is what we call capital budgeting techniques. How do we plan and say it is A or B or C that we shall be going for, and of course leave the others behind? So we have got various capital budgeting techniques, and one of the biggest model that you must understand at this level is what we call net present value. So in short, whenever you have got projects whose capital requirement is more than the capital available, then you must compute their value contributions to the company. You must compute what we call the net present, what here? The net present value of each product, of each project. And of course, your guess is as good as mine. Any project whose NPV will be negative, for example, in this case here, will be put down, put out. Ladies and gentlemen, as a capital budgeting technique, we shall be discussing with you here what we call the profitability index. Profitability index. We shall be looking at the IRR, internal rate of return. If I pause there a little bit and ask you guys, these three capital budgeting techniques that I've just mentioned, is there anybody who is able to remember them? NPV, profitability index, we have IRR. Is there anybody who is able to remember them from your previous studies? That the capital we have is not enough, and therefore we must do what we call project appraisal, using net present value, using IRR, using, in this case here, profitability index. We will not be able to go to things like payback period here, really no. But are those techniques that somebody here has ever heard? They are not talking to me, or rather, maybe the comments in this case here could be hidden somewhere here. Somewhere here. Anybody who has ever heard of them? I'm not asking whether you know how to compute them. George says yes. Roger Miller is a truthful man. Saumu, great. Roger Miller is saying, ladies and gentlemen, that I may have forgotten this because I was exempted long time ago. And then we have, in this case here, they are not new to us. They are not new to us. I know somebody like Lucy Ongayo, because I know her very well. She may have done financial management, say like how many years ago? 8 years ago. She's even much better. She's a bit younger. There must be somebody who did financial management here 15 years ago. There must be somebody, ladies and gentlemen, who in this particular case, there must be somebody in this particular case, ladies and gentlemen, who did not do FM. Perhaps they were done what year? They were exempted. They were exempted. And that is why, ladies and gentlemen, I would want to take this opportunity to start, not like what the syllabus tells us. You know, the syllabus tells us, you go ahead and start applying those models in the past paper that assume previous knowledge. I'm not going to assume any previous knowledge. I would want to start from scratch. I show you how we discount fast before I start looking at these things. And I would want you to basically ignore everything that I've introduced here, ignore everything that I've spoken about here, and then you mention for us there discounting techniques. Mention for me there discounting techniques. Discounting techniques. This is the title now. Discounting techniques that we did some time back, which we forgot, and Mwalimu would want to take a few minutes to remind all of us. Yeah, like Mary Curia, great. Great. Okay, great. Discounting techniques, discounting techniques. Now, ladies and gentlemen, what you're supposed to know about discounting techniques, these are also known as present valuation techniques. They are also known as, AKA stands for also known as. These are also known as present valuation techniques. Present valuation techniques. They are basically used, they are used to ascertain present values of future cash flows. They are used to ascertain present values of future cash flows. They are used to ascertain present values of future. You discount, if, for example, in future somebody promises to give me 1 million shillings, right? I should be able to get that 1 million shillings from the future to today. Its today's equivalent value will be less. The difference between 1 million and assuming today's value, this amount is worth 900,000. That difference is the discount. So discount means a reduced amount. So you're taking the future value, we apply some percentage on it, and then we get what we call a present value. So the process of moving from future valuation to present valuation is what we call discounting. Now, for us to be able to appreciate what Mwalimu is talking about tonight, I would want us to make reference that there are 2 types of cash flows. 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 So we have these cash flows. Number 1, we have what we call irregular. And then number 2, we have what we call regular or uniform, or what most of you in those old days when you are in the university, you used to call annuity. Thank you very much, Silas. Yes. So we have got 2 types of cash flows. We have irregular, that as Silas is telling us there, also known as what here somebody lump sum amount, irregular lump sum amount. And then we have the regular stroke uniform stroke annuities. Now, ladies and gentlemen, for discounting purposes, irregular use PVIF for discounting. Use PVIF for discounting. For the annuity, use PVIF for discounting. Use PVIF for discounting. So irregular, you use, in this case here, PVIF for discounting. And for the annuity, you use PVIF. Now, ladies and gentlemen, please listen and listen to me very well. When we talk of PVIF, this is present value interest factor. Present value interest factor. PVIF is what we call the one that we normally use to discount annuities. This is what we call present value interest factor of an annuity. Interest factor of an annuity. And I would want to stop a little bit there to have you guys writing your notes very well. And once you finish taking down the notes, could you kindly put a thumbs up? Kindly put a thumbs up. Once you finish taking your notes, please put a thumbs up, a thumbs up, a thumbs up. Please put a thumbs up. Great. So like I can see from 𝐄𝐄𝐄𝐒, thumbs up. George has not yet finished. George has not yet finished because I can see a very angry face. Catherine has finished. George, is it possible for you to ask a question if you have a question? PVIF, this PVIF, my handwriting is not very good. PVIF is present value interest factor of an annuity. And then PVIF alone, the one for discounting irregular, is what we call present value interest factor. Present value interest factor. Present value interest factor. Now, ladies and gentlemen, please listen, because we have 𝐄𝐄𝐒. 𝐄𝐄𝐿 is putting finger down like this. Is there something, 𝐄𝐄𝐿, you haven't written? Is it possible for you to ask a question, 𝐄𝐄𝐿? Please don't fear your father. I'm your father. I'm your father. You can fear your mother, but never fear you. You must be very free with your father. Yeah, you can even screenshot. Thank you very much. I can see somebody in this case here telling me that, Mwalimu, you're cheating us, especially on a Mother's Day. If you're saying like that, for sure, you don't know the role of a father in this society. This is a person that you should be very close with. I wish you were not, I wish you weren't doing a DM. Don't put your messages private, no. Put your messages there where everybody can see them for good discussions. Thank you so much. So then what is interesting for me, ladies and gentlemen, is to teach you guys, like, how do we get this PV? What is the formula of PV? So what is the formula of PV? The formula of PV is like this. The formula of PV is like this. To get PV, we shall be taking 1 plus R raised to negative n. To get PV, it is 1 plus the return raised to negative n. This is so important, PV. 1 plus R raised to negative n. And then to get PV, ladies and gentlemen, to get present value interest factor of an annuity, we normally take 1 minus this short formula, 1 minus 1 plus R raised to negative n, and then everything to be divided by R. Please write your R better. This is just as a result of poor handwriting. I would have wanted this R and this R to be the same. But I normally comfort myself with what some teacher told me some time back in high school, when he realized that I could not improve in handwriting at all. He told me that bright people have poor handwritings. Just comforting myself, you know. Great, great, great. So is there somebody who has mastered, how to write that? I'll be telling you what N stands for. I'll be telling you what R stands for. But mastery of the formula, is there somebody who has been able to master? If, for example, I was to hide these formulas like this, and then ask you guys to write PV formula and PV formula, is there somebody who has really mastered how to write them? Is there somebody who has mastered how to write them down? Thank you so much. So tell us there that R stands for the required rate of return. Required rate of return, which will also be known as cost of capital. Which will be known as cost of who? Cost of capital. Which will be known as cost of capital. Cost of capital shall be abbreviating this in section 5. We will not be calling it cost of capital. In this advanced level, we shall be calling this one here the famous COC. COC. COC stands for cost of who? Cost of capital. And then, of course, N stands for time. E.g., in years, in months, etc. Time. Example. So mention there example. So we have a business here belonging to Catherine. So we have in this case here Catherine Limited cash flows. Catherine Limited. Limited's cash flows are given as follows. See year 1, year 2 in millions. She has just begun some business here. So this is years, and then we have here cash flows. So year 1 should get 12 million, year 2 should get 15 million, year 3 should get 18 million. Business money. I don't expect her to start buying a very big car. Business money. If you buy a big car, then your business will not be available to celebrate its 5th birthday. And then they have given us the famous COC. So the COC here is 10%. So we are required to determine the total present value. Determine the total present value of her cash flows. COC stands for cost of capital. Cost of capital is the same as what here somebody return. The return. So the first thing that I'll have to ask myself, ladies and gentlemen, The first thing I'll have to ask myself, ladies and gentlemen, the cash flows that we have here from Catherine Limited's company, what type of cash flows are these? Are they regular? You know, if they were to be regular, they would be like coming to us, 10 million year one, 10 million year two, 10 million year three. No, they are irregular. And if they are irregular because they are changing between the years, then to discount them, I will come and use what we call PVs. I will use what we call PVs. And the PV formula, when I'm doing 1 plus R raised to negative n, which will be the same as 1.1 raised to negative n. So 1.1, I'm so sure you haven't seen where I got 1.1 from. I'm 100% I can bet. I can bet with you. You guys haven't seen where I got the 1.1 from. I can bet with you on this. I'm so sure you haven't seen where I got 1.1 from. Is there anybody who has seen where I got 1.1 from? This must be a figure that came from somewhere. Of course, not from Shakahola. Sauma has already seen where we got the 1.1 from, because it is 1 plus R, and the R here is the same as 0.1. The R is the same as 0.1, and therefore 1 plus R, this will be the same as 1 plus 0.1, which will be 1.1. Thank you very much, Leshanta. So then the first one, abracadabra, will be 1.1 raised to negative 1, because it's year 1. You give me an answer, and I've seen somebody very nice is already giving me an answer. Somebody very nice is already giving me an answer there. Remember, as we shall be seeing later on, is that you can read these figures from some tables. Although I want us to assume, you told me, Mwalimu, let us start scratching this thing from the very beginning. So I'm assuming that you don't even know how to read tables. So I'm laying the foundation now. I'm laying the foundation now. So I expect you guys to take your calculators, and then you say 1.1 raised to negative 1. Lucy Wagura, she's giving me 0.9091. 0.9091. So here, because of time 2, I'll talk of 1.1 raised to negative 2. 1.1 raised to negative 2. I can already see Silas has given me something, 0.8264. 0.8264. And then 1.3 raised to negative 3. 1.1 raised to negative 3. Because of the third year. The third year. How I wish it was everybody who was giving me an answer. How I wish it was everybody giving me an answer. How I wish it was everybody giving me an answer. I have in this case here from Barack Odoro, 7513. 7513. And once I get this, I know, it's cash flow, discounting factor. This is called discounting factor. So I know I will come and create a column here called discounted cash flows. So you have to write this in full because you're getting this for the very first time. So you create a column there called discounted cash flow. So discounted cash flow, we are taking the cash flow that we have, multiplying them with the discounting factors. As in, you take this times this will be equal to this. So like you take 12, you discount it by multiplying with this. So you say 12 times 0.9091. What are we getting? Somebody, my calculator jammed. Will replace, we shall overcome. Don't replace it. Perhaps it's only the battery. Don't waste resources. Tomorrow, visit, for example, most of these supermarkets, they sell batteries. For about 100 shillings, you should be able to get that thing replaced, and it will be able to serve you. So we have Anderson, my friend, 109092. 109092. And then we take here 15 times this figure, 15 times this figure. The second one now, 15 times 0.8264. What are we getting there? $12.396. So we have here 12.396. Thank you so much. Go to year number 3. Year number 3. Year number 3, it is 18 times 0.75, 13. I'm so happy now because people have really woken up. Now everybody's giving me a figure. They're giving me 13.5234. 13.5234. Now that these cash flows are discounted, now we can come and add them up. Please add them up. Discounted cash flows, please add all of them up. You add them, and then whatever you get is what we shall call the total present value. Total present value is what we shall call the total present value. You add them, the discounted. Please write this in full. It's called discounted cash flow. So in this case here, we are getting 36.8286, 36.82, 82, 86. Thank you so much. That is wonderful. I love this. I love this. I love this. This is wonderful. 36.82, 86. We are not going to make any decision because we haven't got a net present value, but I simply wanted to use this little example to show you guys how to compute total present value or total discounted cash flow. So example number 2, Ben Masai. No, this is Ben Masai. Masai Limited cash flow. So Ben Masai has basically, as a company, he has bought government bonds. He has bought government bonds. Government bond, which is a 4-year bond. So we have the year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, and then we have cash flow. So year 1, Masai will get 8. Because government bonds, they yield the same amount of cash flows every year. Uniform. So, ladies and gentlemen, they have given us the cork. Cork is 10%. And then we are required to discount and determine the total present value of Masai Limited's cash flows. So required, give us the total present value. Give us the total present value. Now, what type of cash flows do we have here? As you guys write, what type of cash flows do we have here, really? What type of cash flows do we have here? They are annuities, isn't it? They are annuities, and I would want to give you exactly 5 minutes. You try regular, yes. You try this question, we see how far you'll go with it. Try it. I can see others are giving me 66. George is giving me 74 now. You see, at first, I may even decide to take these figures as if they are independent, as if they're irregular. That's an assumption. I'm just assuming. So now I'm going to treat these amounts as if they're what your lumps use. And they use the normal discounting formula, because this normal discounting formula is the one that was discovered a long time ago. They used it for so long before discovering the annuity. So assuming now to go this through the long way and treat this as if they're irregular, come and compute what we call PV. So PV, I'll still use 1.1 raised to negative n. PV, I'll use 1.1 raised to negative n. Right? So it means that here, I will come and talk of 1.1 raised to negative 1, 1.1 raised to negative 2, 1.1 raised to negative 3, 1.1 raised to negative 4. So then could you kindly give us these figures, ladies and gentlemen? Please give us these figures very fast, assuming that they are irregular. Assuming that they are irregular. So the first one, I'm so much aware it is for 90, 91, the first one. Please give me the rest. Give me the rest. I don't want to belabor. Give me the rest. According to Saumu, it is 82, 82, 64. Thank you so much. So we go to year number 3. We go to year number 3. It is 75, 13. It is 75, 13. It is 75, 13. It is 68, 13. It is 68, 13. So come and give me the discounted cash. Give me the discounted cash flow. The discounted cash flow. Now we are multiplying the first cash flow with this. Give me your answer. Preferably, in 4 decimal places. Give me your answers. Give me your answers, preferably in 4 decimal places. So we have George giving me 7.273. 273. He took 8 times the PV. Go for the second one. Go for the second one. Thank you very much, Lucy Wagura. All students who are trying to give us figures here are great students, are nice students. They are nice students. They are nice students. So we have 6.61, 6112, George, 6.6112 is able to confirm. So third year now, Silas also confirmed. The third year, we are thinking that 8 times 0.7512. Third year, according to 𝐄𝐄𝐒, is 6104. 6104. Thank you so much. So the last one, 8 times 0.6830. The last one, 8 times 0.6830. What we have, according to Vincent, it's 54, 64, 54, 64, 0, decimal. So please come and calculate. Give me the total, present value. It is exactly equal to what you guys got. Please give me the total, please. Twenty-five points. 3535. Is there anybody using the other formula who could have gotten this answer? Anybody use the other formula and got this answer? Yes. So the question that basically begs for our attention is that why did people refuse this simplified formula? And they decided working it out to get another now formula that is able to consolidate everything. And it's because of this. Maasai limited cash flows. For example, if there were 50-year cash flows, then this method really becomes what you come by, even 10. Discounting 20 years using this method. So this method is limited simply because it is quite laborious to use it, especially when the number of years which are in question are too many. Otherwise, I can decide to make use of it. Now listen and listen to me very well. So method number 2. 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 So according to method number 2, now this is where we use the annuities approach. The method 2. Method 2 is where we use the annuities approach. So the annuities approach, ladies and gentlemen, then what do we have here under annuities approach? We shall come and remind ourselves, remember the PV formula. PV formula is 1 plus R raised to negative M. How about PV part? So PV part will be 1 minus this formula. 1 plus R raised to negative M, and then you divide everything by what here? By R. Annuities approach is this method I'm after. So first of all, come and give me the PV part. So PV part will be 1 minus 1.1 raised to this 888 was available to Maasai Limited for 4 years. So these will be raised to -4. And then whatever we shall get, we shall come and divide these by 0.1. Where do I get 1.1 from? It's because the cost of capital is 10%. It's the same as 0.1. So 1 plus 0.1 is the same as 1.1. So then if you move slowly and tell us there 1 minus 1.1 raised to -4, you say equals first. And then you say divide by 0.1. Could you kindly advise us really, what figure are we getting here for PV5? What figure are we getting here for PV4? What figure are we getting? The final figure. According to some, according to, there's so many guys who have given me this figure, 3.1699, like that. Thank you so much. And therefore, the total present value. Therefore, the total present value, I'll only take the annuity figure just once. Don't tell me take 8 times 8. No, it's only once. Because we're trying to avoid that thing of what here, 8 of them coming like say 50 times. You take it only one annuity figure times this PV fund. So it will be 8 times 3.1699. So is there somebody who can give me this figure that we confirm whether this figure is the same as the one that you guys got? Anybody who is able to confirm this, and we get to check really whether we got it right. So Barak gives me 25.3589. We may not get exactly the same answer with what we got, but whatever we get in here should be very close to the other one that we got using a longer approach. Can't see anybody who's excited. Can't see anybody who's excited. Saying, Eureka, I've learned something, Or somebody who has a question and see really. Remember, if you've got any concerns, any complaints, you're not able to understand, perhaps some too fast, don't hesitate to put your concerns down. Direct. Makes sense. So I would want to pause a little bit. So, do not do for year 1. No. You see, if you start doing like for year 1, year 2, then it will not really make sense why these guys came up with a simplified formula. What if those cash flows were like 80 of them? They came up with this simplified formula for an annuity because of that repetitiveness, but they can only take one figure, that repetitive figure, only one, and then you multiply it with what we call PV farm. I hope I'm clear. On the no problem, Lucy, I'll be able to show you how to raise. So for example, Lucy, if you look at your calculator, first of all, you'll be able to see a function written raised. Could be written like this. Lucy, just check there, quite close to on. Either written like this or written x raised to r. Let me see whether you are able to see it. First of all, you see that button. Be able to see it. And even somebody can make it quite easy even for me by taking a screenshot of your calculator and then you circle that thing. And then you send the photo on WhatsApp. That's what I've always seen people doing. A student who has that, I wish I had mine here. You simply take a screenshot and then you circle. And then you send it through our WhatsApp to be able to pick it. Many differences. This is advanced. This is advanced. Lucy cannot see. What type of a calculator does she have with Lucy? Vision of account. Lucy, are you able to share? Just take a screenshot of your calculator and then send it to WhatsApp if you don't mind. I hope you're in our group, Lucy. Just take a photo of your calculator. And then you send it here in AFM group. And as you do that, George is also trying to tell you something that there is a sign there. Very good. You see where we have log. Are you able to see log, Lucy? Are you able to see log or x squared? Just above there. Just above there. Just above there. Just above there, Lucy. Yes. So this one here. This is the rest. This one. I hope you are able to see. This one is the rest. Near logarithm. Near logarithm, the rest is here. The rest is there. I hope now you're able to see it. Thank you very much. I can see somebody. Yes. Yes. Great. 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 So then if you want to raise, say, for example, 2, if you want to raise, say, for example, 2 raised to negative 5, that's what exactly you do. So they come and they say, yeah, 2 raised to negative, 2 raised to, and then you press negative 5. You go to get those answers. You can now try whatever here. Like now 1 minus 1.1 raised to negative 4 equals. First of all, you say equals. Whatever you get, you say divided by 0.1. And then you see whether you'll be able to get this figure to see. Let's try that. See whether you'll be able to get that figure. So you say 1 minus 1.1, then that's a function of raised negative 4, raised to negative 4. And you say equals. Once you say equals, whatever you get, they divide by 0.1. And then I'll leave you now to do practical. I wish you could just get figured for me. That'd be very important. Got it, great. Now from there, I now give you the power to go and use that power later on nicely in getting all the other figures. In getting all the other figures. Great. And I'll also take this opportunity to thank the students who contributed there. The massive, very good tip. Thank you so much. Great. Now, if you don't mind, ladies and gentlemen, I'll be able to answer the student who has asked about the difference between this advanced capital budgeting and the capital budgeting or intermediate level, FM of intermediate level. You know, FM of intermediate level was quite a child's play. Now children play soft games. Right? These one advanced have got so many things. But the good thing is that you're going to love them. The moment you at least have these basics, you're going to love this advanced capital budgeting and advanced financial management as a paper. So if you allow me, then I'll be able to look at Silas. So Silas. So this is exercise 3. Exercise 3, Silas Limited. Expect to receive Kenya shillings 3 million per annum in perpetuity. In perpetuity, the cost of capital is 10%. The cost of capital is 10%. And then we are required, here to come and determine the total present value of Silas's or Silas Limited's cash reserves. So you can see the concept of perpetual. Perpetuity is the same as infinity. 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 So I want to give you like 3 minutes to attempt this. 3 minutes to attempt this. It will be very important. we manage to attempt this. It could be very important to me. See whether you're able to get it right. You guys are geniuses. Thank you so much. Let me just take this opportunity to remind all of us how we are supposed to get this total present value. So to get the total present value, I will take the 3 million. All right? And then I multiply this with PV far, but now when n is in infinity. PV far when n is in where PV far is because this is a I don't think it's an analysis, it's going to be constant throughout. And then I'll come and remind myself very first that to get PV far, it is 1 minus 1 plus r raised to negative n, everything divided by r. But now remember, we don't have n, or rather n is infinity. N is infinity. And if n is infinity, then this PV far means that PV far, when n is infinity, will be 1 over what here? Somebody will be 1 over r. So if I come back here, this will be the same as 3 times 1 over r, which is the same as 3 over r. And the r is 10%. That is how those things work. And you're learning something very, very important. We are learning something very, very important. We are saying that the present value, when n is infinity, you'll be taking amount divided by r. Amount divided by r. If I were you, I would have highlighted this thing. If I were you, I would have highlighted this thing. And if possible, highlight it with a yellow highlighter. Yellow brings things out very nicely. Very nicely. Yellow highlighter. Present value when n is infinity. You simply don't have to go through the steps that we have gone through. When they talk of n being infinity, then you take the amount, you divide it by what here somebody, you divide it by r. You take the amount and then you divide it by what here somebody, you divide it by r. Okay. Divided by rate, which is 10%. So I don't know whether we are together. Are we together really up to here? Are we together really up to here? Are we together really up to here? I don't think so. If it's Silas only saying that we're together, then there must be a problem somewhere. There must be a problem somewhere. There must be a problem somewhere. Oh, Kyoko is saying I'm breaking. Am I breaking for everybody or it's Kyoko's internet? It'd be very bad to give you bad experience. Oh, I'm okay. Okay. It's Kyoko's internet. Kyoko, it's your internet. Kyoko work on internet. Kyoko, if possible, please don't be using like Airtel. The only internet that I'm so proud of is Safaricom. Any other internet is Bonoko. It's useless. It's useless. Vincent says, thank you very much, Vincent. Explain how you cancel this 1 plus r raised to negative infinity. No problem. That I can be able to explain. Now, listen. If, for example, you have here 1.1 raised to negative 1, remind me this figure, Vincent. What is 1.1 raised to negative 1? Please remind me this figure. 1.1 raised to negative 1. Please remind me this figure. Vincent, I hope you're able to see it as for 990.91. Thank you very much. Now remember, as n approaches infinity, it means n is increasing. So if n, for example, was to be 10, So then what is 1.1 raised to the negative 10? What is 1.1 raised to the negative 10 now? Try this. What is 1.1 raised to the negative 10? Try. It will be 0. So I want us to increase the n. We increase the n. We increase the n. We increase the n. We said is saying 0.38, 55. What if now our n is 100? So 1.1 raised to the 100. That will start being 0.0. Let's try this. We're learning something very nice there. We're learning something very nice here. We're learning something very nice here. We're learning something very nice here. 0.00. You can see. We try the last one. How about 1.1 raised to the 1,000? This now is even something you can't even write down. So what you're saying is that as n increases, this entire number approaches 0. This entire number approaches 0. Actually, the best for you. You guys are not supposed to be big mathematicians. No. You're not supposed to be very big mathematicians. No. For me, the way I was taught this thing, I was told like this. I was told like this. If, for example, we have here the formula, PV is 1 minus 1 plus r, and then we talk of what here negative infinity all over r, and then we say that this is infinity. Infinity means that the entire term here cannot be defined. This entire term cannot be defined. So this entire term will disappear. So that now PV when n is infinity becomes what here? Somebody 1 over r. Becomes 1 over r. PV when n is infinity becomes 1 over r. This one is 1 over r because this cannot be defined. Cannot be defined. Cannot be defined. So Vincent, have I answered your question? Or do you want us to go into a lot of mathematics? Really, as here we are doing applied maths. We're applying what these guys. Great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And this formula is so important to us. If there is any formula that I want you guys to master, is this formula of PV is this formula of PV when n is infinity. When n is infinity, this formula is a very important formula to us. Is a very important formula to us because later on, I'll be telling you that Silas's figures will be growing, right? That the 3 million will be growing by a certain percentage, like this. I'll come and tell you later on. I can even take it to an exercise. I can expand the Silas limited cash flows are 3 million per annum. And the n is infinity. But now we have a growth rate of 2% per annum. Growth rate of 2% per annum. And then they have given you R as 10%. And then we are required to determine the total present value. Determine the total present value. So is there somebody who can really be able to do this? Determine the total present value. Is there anybody who can do this? Determine the total present value. Determine the total present value. Determine the total present value. Silas limited stock flows are 2 million per annum, but n has not been given. N is infinity. But these cash flows will be growing at 2% per annum. R, which is our cost of capital, is 10%. R, which is our cost of capital, is 10%. Lucy says, Mwalimu, please do it. Do it. Do it. Remember, when it is infinite, the present value will be equal to the amount given over R. But now this time round, we have a growth rate, and you are told when there is growth rate, you will come and increase the amount here with this growth rate. And then you subtract what here? You subtract G from the denominator. You must have learned this already. Present value in situations where N is infinity, and there is a growth rate. And there is a growth rate. So if I move slowly, the amount given is 3 into 1 plus growth rate of 0.02. 1 plus growth rate of 0.02 all over R. R, which is 0.1 minus the growth rate of 0.02. So then could you kindly just move slowly? If I were you, I would first of all get the numerator. Is there somebody who can give me the numerator here? Is there somebody who can give me the numerator here? 3 times 1.02. 3 times 1.02. What are we getting here? 3 times 1.02. What are we getting here? 8.06. All over this minus this. 0.1 minus 0.02. 0.1 minus 0.02 will give us what figure? 0.02. So then finally, what figure are we going to get finally? 3.06 divided by 0.08. What figures are we get finally here? So according to Silas, we are getting 38.25. That's according to Silas. According to Wangeshi, 38.25. 38.25. And this is a very important formula that I would want us. This is the bedrock of finance. This formula is the bedrock of finance, present value. It is the bedrock of finance. When you have a growth rate, when N is in perpetuity, and then you happen to be having a growth rate. 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 This formula is very important because later on, I'll be blocking this, especially when I go to the advanced financing division. When I go to the advanced financing division, I'll be able to blow this to something called dividend valuation method. Dividend valuation method, where we shall say BO equals BO into 1 plus G over KE minus G. Provincial officer equals district officer, like Rigathi Gachagua, who grew, so has to grow. I don't know whether he reached here. I think he must have just passed this position to deputy president. He did very, very well. So in this case here, we have BO who has to grow in rank, get to whatever, become a PO. All over Kenya without government. All over Kenya without government. These are very important formula, which is basically emanating out of this. Which is basically emanating out of this. So we shall be seeing that BO, the value organization, BO stands for the current dividends. Then we have G is the growth rate. We have this what we call in cost of equity minus what we call the growth rate. Of course, this is provision of the sign Madina Utani. BO stands for the current market price per share. Current means present value. Present value. Okay. So you should not be labor a lot on this because this is something that is ahead of us. It is something that is ahead of us. But you know, your examiner is quite a bright examiner. Normally, intrinsic value. Thank you very much, Silas. I can see you guys are really way ahead. You're really way ahead. Intrinsic value. Yes. Great. So then what your examiner will do, what I've seen him do, what I've seen him doing in the past, what I've seen this examiner doing in the past, it's just something that crazy like this. I've seen this examiner doing this in the past. KE is cost of equity. Thanks for asking. Cost of equity. It's cost of equity. KE is cost of equity, which will be combined with cost of debt later on to be able to give us what we call WACC, the cost of capital, later on. But that should not really scare you at all because we aren't yet there. I just wanted to connect this with what I'll be doing in future. It's like a bridge. A bridge. For now, what I want you to know is this. If, for example, we have Madam Joanne's cash flows. Cash flows. So we have here 5 million. then R in this case here is 12%. Then we have growth rate of 2%. Then we are required to determine Joanne's present value. Total present value. Could you kindly try this out? Could you kindly try this out? You can try this out. So Joanne's cash flows are 5 million. The required rate of return there is 12%. And then they have given us, ladies and gentlemen, the growth rate, which is 2%. So determine the total present value. Determine the total present value. So please remember, for the students who have not yet joined us, you're getting this first lesson. I can call it first lesson topic number 1 from RCM Online College. We expect you guys to join us. This is our number, 0719 525,000. And we are quite a wonderful college. We are charging Kenya shillings 4,200 per paper. And please remember that our pay bill is 62,42,839. So number is your name. You want to make the payment, ensure that you forward the same payment on WhatsApp through this number, through that number. And for those of you who insist they would want physical classes, you simply need to go to RCM Standbank House, first floor. RCM Standbank House, first floor. But physical classes are a little bit pricey. Yeah, we charge 9,000 per subject, because really our idea is to have all our students being online students, where we are able to record. It's the way to go. We see, for some reasons, for example, we get some students telling that, Mwalimu, I'm coming from Upper Hill. I don't want, in this case, to go home at 5. There's a lot of jam. Then we have a place for you at 9,000 shillings, and we are quite cheap compared to our competitors, also depending on the kind of value we provide. We provide high value. Great. They're getting 51. You see, now you guys are very bright. Even if the examiner never gave us N, even if he never gave us N, but you see here we have R and the N has not been defined. So it behoves of us to come and straight away know that N is what we are. N is infinity. N is infinity. N is infinity. And if that is the case, then I'll be able to build the car. I will be able to build the car very easily. I will be able to build the car very easily. I will come and say my present value will be, of course, the amount over R, because of this infinity. And then because of the growth rate, the amount has to grow. And then from this denominator we subtract G. So therefore, the present value will be equal to the amount which is 5 into 1 plus the growth rate. See, the growth rate is 2%. So 1.03 all over R. R is 0.12 minus the growth rate of 0.02. So please move slowly. Give me the numerator. Give me the numerator. Is there somebody who is able to give me the numerator here? 5 times 1.02. What are we getting here? 5 times 1.02. We're getting 5.1 divided by this minus this. Give me 0.1. I'm so sure somebody like Leshanta, who is getting 56, they must have thought that in the denominator here we have a 0.8 as a formula. No, but I'm joking. I'm joking. So the final answer is supposed to be 50. What here is supposed to be 51. The final answer is supposed to be 51. Is that true? Is that true? 51. Thank you so much. And ladies and gentlemen, I would want to end our today's session at this juncture. It's been a pleasure hosting you tonight. It's my belief that we are getting now to start enjoying our AFM, our sessions. Otherwise, from your Mwalimu Dr. Joshua Aura, bye-bye. Thanks. He is asking what of the students who are not able to do exams last semester. We have a retake. You normally save 1,000. So retake fees will be 3,200. Retake fees will be 3,200. Thank you so much. Sometimes it's too early. It's too early. Most of these things will come after results are out. Now I cannot give you an assignment. The only thing I'll do is to send you some video on this on how to work. It's too early sometimes. Thank you very much for your mioto, lakini it's too early. I know what I'm talking about. Thank you. Bye-bye. Okay, great.